What about you, Oggy?
Tuesday as well, so me and Nathan may, I don't know, we're sharing a flight across, I'm not sure. It's news to me that Nathan's travelling the same day, but yeah, next Tuesday.
Well, don't worry, Nathan will turn left. Okay.
Wow. So we got Marco.
Yeah, Nathan and Gab left,
Yes.
Oggy by the toilet. There you go. Ali, would you rather score a goal in the World Cup or the winning goal in the Champions League final?
Oh, this is so easy.
Oh. So would you rather be the first ever goal scorer in the history of Venezuela in the World Cup?
Yeah.
Or score the winner in the Champions League final?
100% score a goal in the World Cup.
Wow.
Group stage, it doesn't matter what goal it is. We're assuming that Venezuela is going to score multiple goals in the World Cup, apparently. It doesn't matter what goal it is. It would mean that our country has made the World Cup, and therefore that would be far more important than any contribution that I may have had in a Champions League final.
Our producer wasn't going to put that question because he's like so obvious. He's going to say Champions League final. See, where's the loyalty that he has?
Oh, look, he doesn't love his country like I do. That's it.
Nathan, what would you say to this?
I think Alice is a bit different because he's talking about making history as such for his national team.
Yeah.
But, you know, whether I'm playing for whoever I can play for, I think for me I'd have to go Champions League final. Because my goal in the World Cup would just be irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, wow. All right.
Wow. There I was opening my heart to making history. What
would you prefer, Oggy, to score the winner for Manchester United or the winner for England?
I'd rather score a Champions League final, let's just leave it at that one.
Wow. No loyalty to his country either.
No. They hate their country. Vamos Venezuela!
Mark, forget about dark horses. Who will be the biggest flops at the World Cup? Some good contenders.
So I've been asked this question this week for a piece we're doing next week and after the USA. I think the US could, I mean, they're not a favourite, but I think obviously a host nation, but with Turkey qualifying and being in their group, Turkey are a very good team. I think so Turkey win that group and it makes it harder for the US to get out. Now the US could actually ride a wave of euphoria and qualify, but it's been a very turbulent couple of years under Pochettino. I think that Paraguay and Australia are probably on a par with the US, so I think the US could crash out of the World Cup in the group stage.
Ali?
Well, I see that scenario. A lot of people are overlooking Australia and Paraguay and thinking, the US is just going to go on and win those matches easily. I don't think it's going to be nearly as straightforward. But when I'm thinking a flop, I'm thinking teams that are supposed to be in the conversation in the latter stages of the competition, and I just don't think that the US fits that mold. So then we have to go into who are the favorites that could potentially come up short. Argentina.
Oh yeah? For what reason?
There are a lot of things that I believe have to happen in order for you to win a World Cup. And obviously you have to have talent. Obviously you have to have a whole lot of work as a team and as a group, moments of magic from your genius, in this case Lionel Messi. And you also have to have an element of good fortune. And they had a lot of that in the last World Cup. If at any point that luck turns the other way, Argentina comes up short against the Netherlands, for example, and we're not having the conversation about them winning the World Cup. The expectation is for them to be right there in the semifinals or winning this whole thing. Anything less than that may be considered a flop for Argentina. Their standard is higher than most. If they don't get that element of good fortune, they may not reach that height.
Nathan?
So I'm going to upset one of our colleagues here, and I'm going to say France. But the reason I'm going to say France is because when you ask people who's going to win it all, they're like, oh, France, have you seen their front four? They're incredible. It's the best squad, it's the best this, it's the best that. I'm not saying that it matters as such, but they just lost against Ivory Coast just a couple of days ago. So maybe this thing that is perfect probably isn't as perfect as we believe. So I'm only judging them according to the standard, like Alice just said there, like making it to the last stages, to be playing in the World Cup final. I don't think they make it there, and as a consequence, I think they'll probably be perceived as being flops.
I think England, Oggy. I don't think we're going to do much, to be honest.
I do think that they might underestimate the conditions. Look, Thomas Tuchel speaks to a squad and it's got a lot of runners in it, and the last thing you want to do in this World Cup is run around the pitch for 90 minutes. The technical players like Foden and Palmer haven't made it. So, and I think there's a potential where they could play Mexico City in the round of 16, having not played at altitude for any part of the competition. So that would alarm me as an England fan. And I think that could be the end of the road. But I know Mexico aren't great, but Mexico in the Azteca, that's tough.
Man, the hate for your country, huh? All three of you just hate England. But I agree, though. It could be a flop.
I think so. For Mark, what should United do with Marcus Rashford and Andre Onana when they can't find a permanent solution to sell them in the summer? That's going to be a lovely pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're two different players. I mean, Rashford has got some real kind of resale value, I guess. The fact that he's had a decent season at Barcelona, he's on big wages, but I think there will be other clubs interested in Marcus Rashford. There's a suggestion that Tottenham might be interested in him as well. If Marcus Rashford wants to go back to Barcelona, he doesn't want to go back to Man United, so I think that's difficult for United to even address that right now. But Onana's just, you know, they'll just try and hopefully get somebody to take him, maybe Trabzonspor again. But you know, there's not going to be a queue of clubs for Andre Onana, unfortunately. But Marcus Rashford, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll find a taker for Marcus Rashford.
If your international career was messed up by a manager who didn't pick you because you were a Scorpio or Cancer, this was the reason Dominic did not select Ludovic Gui in 2006 and 2008. This is the bus documentary which is on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it because you can't quite believe everything that Dominic is saying. He's clearly insane. And how he was in charge of France, I have no idea. But it makes for compelling TV. It's a great documentary, and he talks about the fact that stars, although he seems, if you've seen it, he seems to just hate all the players.
Yes, not just the Scorpios or the Cancer. But this is not an exaggeration in that he did say that he couldn't have too many Scorpios in the team.
Yeah.
What? What? Imagine being the player, and I think that's the essence of the question. Imagine being the player who's being left out, and that's the reason that is presented to him. There is no counter argument to this. You can't argue with craziness. It's just, and yet, the way that Dominic presents himself is he truly believes these things, and he is wholeheartedly, in his mind, correct in the way that he approached everything that went on in that World Cup. There is no, in any way, at no point he's raising his arm and said, you know, I could have done some things different. No, it's this player, it's that player, it's the federation, it's the press officer, it's everybody else but him. It is amazing, to your point, how this guy was a national team manager.
Yeah, go and watch it. One of the best things about it is a French documentary that doesn't involve Julien Laurent as well.
Okay.
Nader, rumours linking players like Haaland, Rodri and Vardiol, who also happen to be the core of City's current project, with a move away from Manchester this summer. Are you worried that it might prove difficult to keep a hold of your star players in this post-Pep era?
No, I'm not really worried about that as such. I think for Rodri, somebody who is, I think he's possibly 30 or so on. He might be the core of it, relatively speaking, but I don't think his best football is still ahead of him. And I think he's heard in the past that he maybe wanted to go to Real Madrid and other places, so I'm sure they're making a plan for that. I think Vardiol will be a big miss because, they spent so much money on him, and he's still a youngish player who could, essentially still have his future at City, but where he goes to will be interesting. And again, unlike what we said on the show, I don't think necessarily these players all signed because of Guardiola. I think the club essentially sold him a vision, and the manager is Guardiola. I don't think Guardiola is the one speaking, saying, you have to come to me, you have to come to me. I think it goes beyond that. So I'm not really concerned as such, because the recruitment overall across the years has been very, very good. Not just specific to the players that Guardiola maybe would have wanted, but players that have suited the club with Guardiola in charge. So I'm positive. But to go back to the last question, by the way,
yes.
Sorry to make this about something I've experienced, but Roberto Mancini was the same. Mancini wouldn't let people wear certain colours on a training day. He also said Roque Santa Cruz, the Paraguayan international, he said his quads were too big, so he couldn't play. And there was a spell where he said Johnny Lescott's calves were too small, so he couldn't play either. And he would not budge from those positions for the start of his time at Man City. So just goes to show some of these managers are crazy, and it's always your fault, never theirs.
Didn't Glenn Hoddle have some sort of nonsense?
Yes, remind everyone the Glenn Hoddle story, Mark.
Oh, the
Eileen Drury.
The Eileen Drury, yeah. So, was she a faith healer or something? He would send players to go and see Eileen Drury, and it's a classic story about Ray Parlour, isn't it? So Eileen Drury, apparently, Ray Parlour sits down she tells him to close his eyes. He puts his hands on his head and he says, "Short back and sides, please." And he never got picked for England again.
Stevie's haircut. Okay. For the guys, if you're picking I think this is quite easy. For the guys, if you're picking a team for a final, who would you pick, Ali, between Vieira and N'Golo Kante?
Patrick Vieira. He could do the things that N'Golo Kante could do in terms of covering the ground, physically a more imposing player, but also a guy that could play a whole lot more than N'Golo Kante, as much as I love N'Golo Kante.
Vieira as well, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd go Vieira.
Yes.
I'd go Vieira, yeah.
For the guys, if you're picking a team for the final... Oh, no, we've just done that. Well done with that. First day. How many teams can realistically win the World Cup, Nathan? So there are 48.
Do you know what, this year, I'm going to say more than usual, just because, as Ali's spoken about, everyone's spoken about, the conditions throughout the tournament are going to be so different for so many teams.
Yeah.
Some teams are inside, some teams are outside. There's the altitude, as you said, in the Azteca and so on. That I think maybe this year there'll be more disruptions. So instead of just seeing like the European bias, obviously Spain, France, and so on, like South America, Argentina, I think all those teams potentially could be in play. It wouldn't surprise me if, say, there's a different sort of South American team like a Colombia, that steps up, plays to the conditions, and finds a way to win the big trophy.
What's your number then, Nathan?
What's my number?
Yes.
You want my phone number? I thought you already had it down. What's going on?
No, I blocked it accidentally. If you're picking a team... Oh, no, I've done that. No, so how many teams can realistically win it?
I would say all of those teams there.
10?
I'd say all those teams there.
Is that what you see?
Yeah, I'm backing that, yeah. I'm expecting something chaotic.
Okay. Oggy?
So, sorry, Dan, on that list of teams, Norway was on that list. Nathan, you say Norway can win the World Cup?
Well, I said 10, I never said Norway. You
said those 10 teams you just showed us.
I said 10 teams.
No,
Whatever,
you said
10
10 teams that you just showed us.
I said 10 teams.
Hey,
So,
this is the BBC now.
Trade Belgium for Norway.
Who you substituting?
Yeah.
I have no idea what he just said.
Oh, that's standard. Right. How many do you think, Ali?
I think the
5.
5?
5, and I would change Argentina with Brazil in the first 5 there.
Right.
I think Argentina, now, notwithstanding what I just said about them potentially being a flop in this tournament, I think they have a better chance of winning this tournament than Brazil does. I don't believe in
Sounds
Brazil
like you're buttering both sides of your bread.
No, that means that I don't believe a whole lot in Brazil. I believe in Argentina more, even though I don't think they're going to win it, than I do Brazil. It tells you how little I believe in Brazil.
So we've got 5, we've got 10. Oggy?
I think that list, you cut the list at Germany, so I think 7. And
Okay.
I think Germany, Brazil and England are outsiders in that list. I think look at that list, I think the team that I really fancy is Portugal. I think everyone focuses on Ronaldo, but they've got a really good team, Portugal. They've got a fantastic group of players. They've got João Neves, they've got Bruno Fernandes, they've got good defenders, they've got Bernardo Silva. Portugal could go all the way if they get a little bit of good fortune in the draw. And apparently there's a possibility to meet Argentina on the way, so it'd be a fantastic way to settle the Ronaldo-Messi debate once and for all.
Oh, I don't think people will mention that going into it.
And to be honest with you, one of the teams in that list at the very bottom was Colombia. They play against Portugal in the group stage in Miami, in the heat. Colombia deals with the heat, I would assume, better than Portugal does. We'll see how strong Portugal is in that game, even though it's the last match of the group stage and things may have been decided by then.
Nadem, who do you think will do the best in the World Cup amongst these teams from Africa? Senegal, Morocco, Ivory Coast and Egypt. And did your perception change for any of these teams based on their recent performances in their friendlies?
Perception changed a little bit for the Ivory Coast. I thought them getting a result against France was pretty impressive. And obviously you could say it's just a friendly before a tournament, but they said the last time France lost in a friendly before a World Cup was when Thierry Henry was last playing for them. So I think that does matter. I think I'll put Egypt as the outsiders. And I think Senegal... Do you know what? I'm going to go Senegal, Morocco. They're going to be the two teams, and obviously we saw what happened at AFCON not too long ago with whoever you think won that tournament. So I'm going to lean towards those two teams being the best of Africa. I think if anything, I'll probably give Senegal, I'll shade it for Senegal.
Can I get an update on that situation? Is Senegal the AFCON champion or Morocco the AFCON champion? Do you know this, Dan? Do you have access to this information?
It is Morocco.
Official.
Officially.
Okay.
But there's appeals and other things going on.
As it stands.
As it stands.
Okay.
It's like the old 115 charges for Nadam's boys.
Yes.
We're still waiting for the official. Mark, explain to me, like I'm 5 years old.
Well, there you go.
Didn't need that bit.
Happy birthday, man.
Oh, Mark made it funny.
What's the difference between a head coach and a manager in today's football? Don't all teams now have a sporting director whose primary job is to sign the players and the manager/coach wants?
Well, so the managers that have been named manager are, in last season certainly, Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Unai Emery. So that gives you a clue as to the difference between a manager and a head coach. The manager gets, I think he gets the final say, he gets more say. The head coach has to fit in with the sporting director model. Look at Arne Slot at Liverpool, he was the head coach and he paid the price. Ruben Amorim as well at Man United. Just the sporting director has more power, but I think Xabi Alonso's going into Chelsea as the manager. I think that is an important element of status whereby the manager just sits above the sporting director, has more say, more power. I think that's all it is. I think the manager, you have to be a top coach to become the manager, if that makes sense. You have to have the credentials, the track record to say, no, I'm the manager and the buck stops with me.
But in this part of the world,
yes,
the head coach it's the main guy. The equivalent is what Stevie was at the New England Revolution, the head coach. And then you have the assistant coaches. And managers are the guys who run the baseball teams.
Right.
In this part of the world. But because we sort of, in some way, kind of have to fit in some of the narratives that come from the Premier League, then now we all sort of talk about managers pertaining to soccer, where here, again, in this part of the world, managers are very much part of the baseball lingo, not the soccer lingo.
What does Nadam miss about living in America the most?
Wow.
Me, obviously,
Do you know
to
what?
start.
I'll say so. Absolutely not you. I tell you that as a fact right now. It will never be you, Dan Thomas. It will never be you.
Right, we're going to spend lots of time together in the next couple of weeks.
Wow.
Holding hands, walking down West Hartford Street.
Yeah, just a regular summer in West Hartford. Do you know what I'll say? I miss the people. I miss the people that I worked with and the people that I lived close to when I was in Utah. Some great people at Real Salt Lake and some great people in my neighborhood as well. They know who they are. Hopefully I'll see them again soon.
Wow.
I thought he was going to say Zlatan, but...
Oh, no, not Zlatan. Oggy, what about you? Oh, is this what Oggy says he missed Hershey's?
Oh.
What an awful take.
No, I'd never lived in America, so there's nothing I missed about it.
But you've been here before. You must be looking forward to something about your visit that you don't have in the UK. The sun?
The weather?
Yes.
Yeah, the sun, the weather. Let's just leave it at that, shall we?
and sharing a
And
hotel room with
that
Nadam.
big yellow thing in the sky.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Are you in the same hotel?
Yeah.
Are you in the nice hotel or the rubbish one? Oggy.
No, you know where I am. I'm not in a nice hotel.
Is Oggy's role going to be like he was at the Club World Cup and in other competitions in which he's just standing outside the stadium, just frying under the sun, while we go to him and say, hey, trust me, there's something really exciting going on in there kind of thing? Is that his role?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's even going to be that prevalent.
Oh, no, not even that.
Who's taking Mark out to eat so he